Hey guys, and welcome to the third and final Let's Max Warframe, taking a look at the update 16.5 weapons. And in this episode we are going to take a look at the brand new melee weapon, the Boltor themed Boltace. So we've had the Soma theme set completed in recent weeks with the Aximati and the Dual Raza, and now the Boltor set is complete as well with these brand new Tonfas. As with the Soma themes, the Bolters follow the theme of the Boltor weapons with the pretty fantastic base damage of 85, with the overwhelming majority, 68, coming in the form of puncture, and the remaining damage split equally between impact and slash at 8.5 apiece. Although, much like the original Boltor, it has an extremely low crit chance of 5% with a 150% multiplier. It does take a break from following the characteristics of that series with a pretty decent 25% status chance, but while these stats are looking pretty good so far, I've not talked about the biggest feature of the Bolters, the slide attack damage of 510, which is a long way ahead of the nearest competitor. In fact, the nearest any other melee weapon comes to it is 390, 120 less, which is absolutely incredible. Now that's not to say the Bolters doesn't have its drawbacks. Firstly, that additional damage comes at a cost, which is some of the attack speed. The standard Cronin has an attack speed of 1.1, whereas the Bolters gets just 0.9. But when you couple that with quite frankly one of the worst directional melees in the game, this weapon, while it does do a ton of damage, does lack in the manoeuvrability department. The low attack speed is something that you can actually use to your advantage slightly, as I'm going to talk a little bit later about. However, other downsides to the Bolters include a significant stamina cost of 12 per swing. Neither of these are bad enough to ruin the weapon at all, especially since the attack speed can actually work for you, and stamina is getting a complete rework in update 17. However, a downside to the weapon that I've not talked about yet is the build cost. Like a lot of weapons recently, it requires 2 additional weapons to build, the original Tonfas, the Cronin, and a Boltor. Now, while the material cost of those combined weapons is not that great, there's not a lot at all in those weapons that are going to cause you any problems to farm, there is a very hefty 165,000 credit cost, which to a veteran player isn't a massive amount of credits, but for people not yet fully established, doing things like still ranking mods, this is an extremely costly weapon to build. It's definitely not the most expensive weapon, but it is definitely up there. Okay, so let's move on to starting to mod the Boltace. Now, it doesn't come with any polarities as standard, however we're going to add 2 through former, which are going to be these 2 dashes. Now, we have pretty much the same build going on, well at least half the build is going to be the same between the all three of our builds. We've got Gemini Cross as our stance. It's the only stance for the Tonfas right now, so you don't really have a choice for that one. Pressure point for damage, Fury to counter-attack the Spoil Strike, as I'll talk a little bit about later. We've got Life Strike on here, which I like for when I'm doing those melee builds. I like just channeling very quickly, bringing my health up. I use this a lot on pretty much every build right now. Since I'm using quick thinking on a lot of my frames, Life Strike is just an absolute must for me. And for a grenade build, we're going Shocking Touch and Molten Impact for radiation damage, Northwind and Fever Strike for viral. The Corpus, Northwind, Shocking Touch, and we've got Focus Energy, which is going to help bring down the channeling cost of the Life Strike. And we've also got Fever Strike on there for the toxin damage. And in the Void, Fever Strike, Shocking Touch, Focus Energy, which is going to bring up Corrosive. And we've got Molten Impact on there for heat damage as well. So what's my recommendation as to whether I think the Bolters are worth the time, effort and resources to max? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, I think they're worth it. The damage that these put out, especially to grenade based enemies or enemies with high armour, the Bolters is absolutely incredible and definitely one to keep an eye on. But this is one of those weapons that I am going to recommend it because I know how good it is, despite me actually not liking it very much at all. As you all well know, part of my personal requirements for melee is not just the damage, but manoeuvrability as well. and for me the Boltace just fall far too short in that department for my liking. These are very capable weapons, they do fantastic damage, absolutely fantastic damage, especially on the spin attack, and they look absolutely insane on the back of any Warframe, especially as you can see in the footage on the Nemesis Nyx. But I'm just not feeling the love, which is a shame. I wanted to absolutely love these, but they just don't do it for me. Now, as I said earlier about making that lower attack speed work for you, while I have put Fury on there, the inclusion of Spore Strike is the reason you can make the speed work. After the combination of those two mods, the attack speed is still only 1, which is faster than it was, but obviously the Spore Strike is keeping that down, and it's still not particularly high. The problem with a lot of slide attack based melee weapons, and something I thought with the original Cronin, is that with an attack speed that is too high, more often than not, when you do the slide attack, you propel yourself way out of position, unable to actually take advantage of the situation you've just created for yourself. Spore Strike brings the slide attack damage, obviously combined with everything else, to about 7,500, which is absolutely insane. And because the attack speed is quite low, it does mean that you're going to be less out of position, and you're going to be more able to finish those enemies off that you've just slid. Well, if they haven't just died to the original slide attack in the first place. This is definitely a very effective tactic, and one that I think the stats on the Bolters really enhance. So fantastic damage, epic slide attacks, and the love them or hate them looks. The Bolters are definitely a worthy addition to the game. Worth the former, worth the build costs, and extremely capable when used to its strengths. As always guys, many thanks for watching, please remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next episode.